we barnacle-infested build rats. We be making Pirate Borg characters.
So all you've got to do is open up your browser and go to limithron.com/randompirate. And you're done. All right. Thanks for watching the video. Oh, wait a second. You probably want to make characters from scratch. Okay, come with me. I'm Luke Stratton.
And I'm the pirate wizard Limithron.
And I'm the creator of Pirate Borg. Today we're going to be rolling up characters for the worst pirate RPG ever made. To start, you'll need a copy of Pirate Borg. Character sheets, we sell these online in our shop, or you can print them on our website for free. Link below. A PC creation worksheet, you can photocopy this out of the back of the book or print them for free at pirateborg.com. A little tip, put one in a plastic sleeve like this and you can use a dry erase marker.
'Cause the Dark Caribbean be a pretty deadly place, and you're probably going to be doing this more than one time.
Shiny math rocks. I prefer a set with 3d6 or 4d6, and if you can, get a set with d2s. Or you can use a regular coin or take a d4 and just cut the result in half. If you end up playing as a rapscallion, you're going to need a deck of 54 playing cards, including both jokers.
Let's get started.
Character creation is presented step by step in the book, starting on page 27. This can be a really fun and immersive way to build a character, especially for your first time. But if you only have one copy of the book, or you're using PDFs, or you're playing on your computer, the PC creation sheet can really help streamline the process. Character creation is split into 6 simple steps: starting equipment, ability scores, class and class features, background,
and of course, naming your pirate.
Step 1, starting equipment. Roll a d6 for your container.
All right, I rolled a 2, so that's a bandolier.
Then roll a d12 for your cheap gear.
4, shovel.
Then another d12 for your expensive gear.
11, whetstone.
Some results have nested rolls for things like quantity, pets, ancient relics, or even a musical instrument. Step 2, ability scores. Pirate Borg uses the old school method of rolling for stats. That's 3d6, down the line, no rerolls, no swapping. The exception to this is if you're playing as a landlubber or classless individual, in which case you're going to roll 4d6 for each stat, dropping the lowest result for each. Remember that Pirate Borg isn't a game built around character crafting or min-maxing. You might have really bad stats to start, but don't worry, it actually might be more fun that way, and you're going to get a chance to improve your stats every time you gain experience. All right, here we go. Let's roll some dice. Remember, if you're using the cheat sheet, there's a line at the top where you can look up your total to reference your modifier. After this step, you can forget the dice total. Only the modifier matters, and when you get a class in the next step, it's going to alter that modifier. Step 3, choose or roll for a class. I always tell my players, if there's a class that they really want to play, then go for it. If you think you're going to have more fun as a tough brute or a sly sorcerer, then do it, assuming your GM is okay with that, of course.
But if you're ready to embrace the chaos, prepare to roll for your class.
For your first character, I recommend rolling a d6 for your class, but as your campaign progresses and you inevitably perish into the endless abyss that is the sea, rolling the optional d8 can result in you playing as a zombie, a skeleton, a merfolk, or even a cursed chicken. I'm not kidding. You can literally play as a foul, and if and when you're killed, your assailant is swarmed by hundreds of ghost chickens. For this example, we're going to roll a d6.
5. So that's a zealot.
Next, we'll adjust our ability scores based on our class. If you're playing as a landlubber, you can skip this step.
So a zealot gets +2 spirit, -1 agility, -1 toughness. So my spirit will move from a -1, 2 spaces up to a +1. My agility will go down by 1 from a +1 to a +0, and my toughness will go down from a 0 to a -1.
Next, we're going to roll for hit points. The die size is different for each class, and it gets modified by your toughness, but the minimum result you can get is 1, so you can't die during character creation.
Ooh, but what if I rolled a haunted soul?
Well, you technically could be undead in character creation, but that's not what I mean.
So Zealot gets D8 plus or minus toughness. My toughness is a -1. So here we go for my hit points. A 6, so I've got 5 max hit points. And that also means I have 5 current hit points at the beginning of the game.
Note that later, when you gain experience, all classes roll a d6 to increase their maximum hit points. And that number is not modified by your toughness, unlike in some other RPGs. Next, we're going to roll for our starting weapon. Note that some classes like the Brute with their named weapon and the Sorcerer, the Buccaneer, and 5 of the Tall Tales don't roll on the normal weapon table.
So the Zealot rolls a D8 for their weapon. So I'm going to go over here to the weapon table and roll a D8. I've got a 1. So a Marlin Spike or Belaying Pin, my pick. Given that he's a Zealot and he probably can't really be around too much metal to use his prayers, I'm going to go with the Belaying Pin. So Belaying Pin.
Now let's get fancy. It's time to roll for clothing and hat.
You'll note that the Pious Zealot, maybe an attempt to be closer to their deity, does not roll for a hat, unfortunately. So we are just going to roll a D8 for clothing, which is over here. Oh, 1. Rags.
Next, starting Devil's Luck.
Most classes start with D2 Devil's Luck, while the Zealot, the Sorcerer, and most of the Tall Tales actually start with D4.
My lucky parrot gets a D6.
Zealot gets D4. 2 starting Devil's Luck. So I'm going to put the die size here as D4, and I'll say I've got 2 to start.
Finally, roll for your class feature. It's worth turning to your class's page in the book, as most of these require some extra explanation. Though, if you've done this before, you can just use the cheat sheet.
The Zealot is on page 42, and since I don't know what all 10 prayers even do, and I want to know when I roll them, I'm going to go to the book, and right here are the 10 prayers, so here comes my D10 roll. 2, I start with Curse. So I'll go back to my sheet, and we'll just mark off Curse.
Now we're ready to move on to the background tables. I found this is actually a really good time to move from the cheat sheet over to a real character sheet, as there's plenty of room on the back to fit your full answers. Honestly, this is probably the most fun part of character creation. We've done this a bunch at conventions and during demos, and this is where people always get excited and their faces light up. Also, it helps display how terrible of a place the Dark Caribbean actually is. I also like to give players the option to come up with their own answers to these questions, especially in a longer format campaign, but of course the choice is up to you. Background, D100. Note that this will also give you extra starting equipment or a motivation, plus a formula for rolling your starting silver, or pieces of 8 as we call them.
44 is a Gambler, and the Gambler starts with 1d12 times 10 silver. So that's 90 silver. Put that right here. And a sizable debt. I don't know what my debt is, so why don't I just roll this and multiply it by 1,000? That'll be fun. Okay, I owe 24,000 silver. 24,000 silver. I just made that up, but sounds fun to me, right?
Distinctive flaw, D20.
10, Anxious.
Physical trademark, D20.
2, Missing an eye.
Idiosyncrasies one might have developed and certainly will never be rid of, but that certainly won't stop you from trying.
D20.
The 12, Overly annoyingly religious. Well, that's very perfect, since I'm a Zealot.
Unfortunate incidents and conditions having occurred or developed with or without one's express consent, desire, knowledge, or general understanding. D20.
D20, got a 17. That's a silent ghost haunts you. It's always there, but only you can see it. So I'll just write haunted.
Thing of importance, D100.
D100, 82. That's a cask of strong sassafras beer. So I'm just going to say root beer. Zealots can also optionally roll for whom dost thou serve. So let's find out who this zealot worships. 4.
Yes.
And that's it. The only thing left is to name your scallywag.
Okay, to review this guy, he's a zealot. His best stat is a +1 for spirit. Also, zealots, they can use their prayers, D2 plus spirit times a day. So we'll go ahead and roll that now. I got a 1, so he can use his curse twice a day. His curse is his feature. He's got a bandolier, a shovel, a whetstone. He's dressed in rags. His only weapon is a marlin spike. He's a gambler. I also rolled that he has a $24,000 debt to somebody. He started with 90 silver because of the gambler. He's anxious. He is missing an eye, annoyingly religious about the god of chaos. And he is haunted by a ghost that nobody can see. And he's got a special cask of root beer. It sounds like a pretty fun character. All right, well, we're going to crowdsource the name of this guy instead of me coming up with the 18,000th pirate name I've had to come up with. So let me know in the comments what you think this pirate should be, and maybe he'll end up in my next adventure or even the next book.
Thanks for watching.
If you don't have Pirate Borg yet, you can pick up a copy at pirateborg.com in either hardcover or PDF format. Also, you can support the channel by joining my Patreon. You'll get instant access to hundreds of battle maps and pirate ship assets, plus adventure content for both Pirate Borg and 5th edition.
Also, be checking out the Ship of the Dead podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. Don't be forgetting to subscribe.
Yes.